Hey, it's Debbie Pods, and I am excited to dive into how you can improve your future self. So, I'm going to go through some slides because I like to have visual notes and I cannot remember everything myself in this small brain, even though I'm taking my creatine and my lion's mane and trying to work on my brain health, but I still need cheat notes. So, I am going to be recording this for the YouTube channel so you can see the slides as well as audio on the podcast. As I get older, I think I get smarter. I'm looking at what gives us energy, what lifts us up, and then identifying what drains you. Is it fear, watching the news, looking at social media? Is it clutter in your house, alcohol, fast food, how you talk to yourself, self-criticism, overworking, and I would say overthinking, lack of sleep, which we'll talk about today, procrastination, social networks, negative thinking, and dwelling on the past. I often think too, I was working with someone that was thinking too much of the future and not really enjoying the present and start focusing on, yes, having purpose, having a plan, and have goals. But should you always be living in the future and not enjoying today? As what the wise panda once said, that today is a present, it is a gift. So enjoy it. So today I'm going to go through my slides of how you can be a better version of yourself in future by focusing on improving resiliency and talking about stress and more. So let's dive in. What is resiliency? First of all, I always like to go through definitions. It is your body and your mind's ability to adapt, recover, and thrive in the face of physical, emotional, metabolic, or environmental stress. So they say that the difference between good, strong resiliency, think about how often do you get sick? Do you get sick from every trigger? Your grandkids, your kids coming to visit, you get sick. But do you bounce back really fast or are you feel that you're out for another week? So getting sick from every trigger versus bouncing back quickly. Burning out from small stressors versus staying steady under pressure. Accelerating the aging process versus aging with strength, clarity, and vitality. So when I look up resiliency, and we'll talk about sleep and the vagus nerve today in functional medicine and look it up in a nutritional therapy practitioner lens, resiliency reflects how well your core systems, your foundations, your nervous, your immune, hormone, mitochondria, detoxification can all adapt and respond, and really how you can repair from that stressor and be stronger afterwards. So we've talked for years about acute stress versus chronic stress. So I like to think about that beaker of stress and not to overfill it, but also you want to also think about how to build resiliency for yourself, how you can fill your own cup up with joy, gratitude, positive energy. So you can't pour from an empty cup. Take care of yourself first. How can you do that? Well, let's look at the role of the nervous system. Very complicated picture I found, but has a lot of information to one slide. But if you look in the center here, we look at this fight or flight versus the parasympathetic nervous system. We have these two nervous systems, fight or flight, rest, digest, detoxify, heal, repair. You can put all those other words in there. Now, what we'll get to towards the end today, or maybe part two, depending on how long I talk for, that we have brain and we have the spine and we have these nerves. And one nerve that does a whole heck of a lot right here, this vagus nerve. Look at what it does, which is all done in the rest and digest system. The vagus nerve connects to your heart rate, are your heart, your lungs, the stomach organ, your liver, your bladder. So think of this connection. And if you work with a chiropractor too, it's really fascinating to get this tested if any nerves are pinched and cutting off that vagus nerve. Then you can look at the difference of fight or flight. What happens when you are in fight or flight? The opposite happens than in the parasympathetic fight or rest and digest. Then we can look at breathing, heart rate, and breath work regulation, talking about the 478 breath work, box breathing, coherent breathing, and really working on how that can bring you into this parasympathetic state. So we get more activity exercise. We're going to shift over here into the sympathetic, getting our heart rate up. We're more into this fight or flight. But then we want to be able to shift back after we've had that short burst of stress. It could be exercise, swimming, jogging, not hopefully trauma, but you're able to recover and reboot back. And interesting at the bottom here, neurotransmitters secreted in sympathetic nervous system, your stress hormones, cortisol, norepinephrine, and the neurotransmitters secreted in the parasympathetic nervous system are happy hormones. Dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, endorphins, the right dose, right? So oxytocin, we learn a lot about if you watch my videos with Dr. William Davis, talk about the bacteria L. reuteri and how it improves oxytocin. But I dug a little deeper and figure out, well, how does that make us feel calm? Well, it comes back to oxytocin and the connection to the vagus nerve and the parasympathetic system. So let's go into resilient system for you to bounce back from stress. How can you repair faster? How can you keep your inflammation in check, maintain your energy, cognition, adapt to challenges without breaking down? That's our goal, right? We want to be more resilient versus being more fragile. You feel inflamed all the time in your brain and your body. You overreact to small stressors. When I started to have my health issues 10 years ago, I remember I was on a bike ride in Hawaii, Kona, at Hapuna Beach in the parking lot, and I was trying to go for a bike ride with friends, but my tire was flat. I had a flat tire and I had to fix it. And all these people were waiting for me. And I freaked out. I was overreactive to little stressors that I shouldn't have responded that way. But that was a beginning, or maybe that was the middle when I was really struggling with cognitive behavior change, adrenal exhaustion, whatever you want to call it, metabolic chaos. So we might be in this fight or flight and sympathetic dominance that leads us to inability to heal. We don't have a good reserves, or vital reserve is empty. So think your bank account. You might have some money in your checking account, but your savings account is depleted. And we become more sensitive when we're more fragile, when we're less resilient to food, to toxins and triggers. Well, why is that? So it matters to be more resilient, because why it matters as we age, when we talk about the future you, we have things that happen. But as I say, don't blame the aging process, embrace it, and be aware of what we need to do more of, how we can improve the outcome, and not just say, oh, this is my new normal, versus taking ownership of your health and your aging process and the future you. So yes, as we age, we have decline in mitochondrial output. We have a weakened immune function. We have shifts in our hormones. We have lowered antioxidant defenses. We have reduction in muscle mass and repair speed. But all that we can control and do something about. So that's why I get fired up that we just say, oh, I'm getting older, these things are going to happen to me, is not the end and be all. We can do something and change this and be more resilient. Why does it matter? Again, without resilience, chronic stress, not acute, leads to burnout. As myself, I had a burnout breakdown of all my body systems. Infections lead to long recoveries, injuries turn to chronic pain, toxins linger, leading to inflammation, emotional stress triggers disease flare ups. But if we can learn how, as we age, become more resilient, we can improve the biological age process. We can adapt better to hormonal shifts as we age, and we are able to handle setbacks without regression. So now we can preserve our muscle and not lose it, improve our energy and mood and cognition. So what happens? Why do we get broken? Well, today we're focusing on sleep, but poor sleep, circadian disruption, chronic infections, we're talking a lot about lately as I dive into toxic overload from mold mycotoxins, heavy metals, pesticides, glyphosate, but also if you overtrain versus that, you also, if you're not doing anything. So it's that Goldilocks effect for what will break you might be positive. So that hormetic stress, the Goldilocks, not too little, not too much. Exercise is an example. Blood sugar instability, processed inflammatory foods, childhood trauma, and ongoing emotional stress in your life. Maybe with your kids or your parents or your spouse or your other family members or friends or your workplace. I know some people have a negative energy in their workplace and it really impacts their mood when they're not at work because now they're being broken down on a work day and they don't have a sense of joy, laughter, and fun because they have negative environment to deal with every day. So let's focus today on building up our resiliency. High quality sleep and our light exposure we're focusing on today. Another day we can work on nutrient dense diet, or not diet, I hate the word diet, but nutrient dense food with protein, healthy fats, and minerals. We're going to talk over time about breath work, mindfulness, vagal tone training we'll touch on again, strength training and movement, mitochondria support. Remember, you can't out supplement your lifestyle habits. So don't take all these supplements without working on your foundational self first, getting connection, purpose, and joy. So, healthy aging, resiliency is not just surviving, it's how well you bounce back, adapt, and grow stronger in time. Fixing your digestion, supporting detoxification, balancing your hormones, your mitochondria, and regulating the nervous system, as we'll talk about. That is what becoming more resilient is about. So we can heal, we can adapt, and we can stay younger longer, but it's not just staying younger, it's that quality of life, right? Sleep, the secret to resiliency. So let's dive into sleep, why we need it, what goes wrong if we don't have it, what disrupts our sleep, and more. So, stages of sleep, we have stage 1, light sleep, feeling very drowsy. We go into stage 2, heart rate slows, breathing very regular. And then we transition between light and deep sleep and a higher amplitude of delta waves in stage 3 and 4. And then into REM, brain activity is high, more similar to being awake, and dreaming occurs. And that is a sleep cycle. We take about 90 minutes for each cycle. So, sleep benefits. Let's go into number 1, our nervous system, and we'll go back to this. During deep sleep, your parasympathetic, rest, digest, heal state dominates. The vagus nerve that I keep talking about every episode. This in having a better vagal tone improves reducing inflammation and enhances stress recovery when you have restorative sleep. If you have poor sleep, you may be getting stuck in chronic sympathetic overdrive, and this is going to deplete your bank account, your stress resiliency, your reserve, your vital reserves. So it's resilient aging means we want a better vagal tone. This will help us provide us with less anxiety and better emotional recovery process. So, sleep repairs mitochondria and cellular damage. So, quality deep sleep and the REM cycle are really important. So, it's always that quality sleep. This is where we get mitochondria repair, antioxidant regeneration, and ATP production. This is critical for aging cells under oxidative stress. And even if you are a fit and active, healthy individual, endurance athletes, the more you exercise and more intense exercise you do, more carbohydrate fuel source exercise, the more oxidative stress you are creating. So really important to support your antioxidants and get that quality restorative sleep, because less sleep means more mitochondria dysfunction, which means fatigue, brain fog, and slower healing. Number 3, sleep balances hormones that drive resiliency. So melatonin, you know about, a master antioxidant you might not have known about, and it's a circadian hormone. It peaks at night, not in the morning, to combat inflammation, and it actually helps support your mitochondria. Deep sleep regulates our cortisol, our insulin, thyroid, testosterone, and estrogen. But if we don't have that quality sleep, we get into this hormonal chaos, reduced ability to adapt, reduction in energy production, and emotional resiliency goes down. Number 4, detoxification. So nighttime is when your immune system regenerates and we have our detox pathways that are activated. If you wake up around 2 a.m. in Chinese medicine, that's called the liver time. There's the liver and the gallbladder clock. They have this Chinese medicine clock. It's pretty fascinating. Cytokines and white blood cells are produced during sleep to protect and heal us. If your body is not sleeping well, if you are not sleeping well, it cannot clear toxins or fight infections very effectively. Number 5, sleep supports cognitive and emotional resiliency. So that REM sleep is critical for memory consolidation, emotional regulation, and neuroplasticity. Aging brains need quality sleep to retain sharpness, adaptability, and emotional control. So without it, you're more reactive, forgetful, and prone to burnout. So having quality sleep is about being resilient. If you want to improve your resiliency, let's start with getting quality sleep to recharge your energy, to repair your cells, to rebalance your hormones, and to calm down your nervous system and help build your immune defense system. So if you want to age strong, improve how you heal, your speed of healing, stay mentally sharp, focus on optimizing your sleep first. Sleep is not just rest, it is resiliency in action. Why is it a non-negotiable for healing? So, when you honor your sleep as a biological necessity, not a luxury, don't say, I'll sleep when I'm dead. That's not what we're talking about, because you want a quality of life, unless you want to die soon. It is a biological necessity that you optimize, because every system to create vitality is addressed while you're sleeping. Cleansing the brain, repairing your mitochondria, helping regulate your hormones and your metabolism, your immune defense system, emotional resiliency, detoxification, and digestion. So if we look at a functional medicine lens, we look at not just how many hours did I sleep last night. I'm going to ask you, are you cycling through all the phases of sleep that allow your body to heal? You probably don't know, but we want to look at, what is your morning routine? What is your full day routine? What do you do all day, but more later in the day, evening? That's going to impact your quality of sleep. So you can use an Aura ring, a Whoop, but they're not 100% accurate. I just like to see some data, but your wake, REM, light sleep, deep sleep cycles, you can see over the night 3 to 5 cycles per night. So we're getting more deep sleep the first half of the night. So people that go to bed at 11, or I had a client that used to go to bed at 1 or 2 a.m. because he worked different time zones around the world, that he had to be working in the middle of the night. I don't think he ever got deep sleep. His app said sometimes, but he wasn't able to heal because I think he was stuck in that sympathetic dominance and not able to get enough quality deep sleep. So we want to be able to get that cycle. So we get deep sleep cycle, and then we get more REM the second half of the night. Now, non-negotiable for healing we talked about, right? So let's go into what are the benefits quality sleep. Internal housekeeping service comes in. I always say that, think of the tooth fairy coming. It's not going to come give you money under your pillow unless you're sound asleep. Your housekeeping coming to sweep and clean the inside of your body while you're sleeping, help you wake up feeling restored, your body detoxified, rebalanced, and you have good energy in the morning. So let's talk about this brain detox. Let me move my video over the way. Why is sleep restorative? What happens? So not to get just brief overview, not go too many rabbit holes, but I like to understand the why. Brain detox and lymphatic drainage, touching on each of these a little bit. Glial cells, we've talked about with Martha Carlin, and we talked about Parkinson's, Dr. William Davis. These shrink at night to open up your drainage channels. So these cells open up that open your drainage channels. They activate the glymphatic system, and this flushes out brain waste. And you'll hear the word beta amyloid and tau proteins. These are linked to cognitive decline in Alzheimer's, an area I'm really concerned about as I age. Think of it as a deep clean cycle for your brain, and this is only possible during deep sleep. We also have cellular repair and renewal. Sleep triggers the release of growth hormone. This is essential for repairing our tissues, our muscles, our organs, and damaged cells are replaced, and oxidative stress from the day is repaired. Mitochondria are restored, and their energy producing capacity is improved in the liver and the brain. Hormone regulation, as we know, the melatonin rises at night, especially after the sun sets, but it also acts as a powerful antioxidant. We also have cortisol resets overnight. We want melatonin to be high at night, cortisol high in the morning. They're in opposition. But the cortisol resets overnight, allowing HPA access, our stress resiliency, to recalibrate. So we have a healthier resilience, more improved resiliency. And then we have our sex hormones, estrogen, progesterone, testosterone are working to rebalance while we rest. And we have growth hormone release that we'll talk about later. And then our immune system. Did you know your body produces these immune messengers called cytokines that help you fight infections and inflammation? So while you're sleeping, your amazing body, your innate intelligence, immune system is learning and remembering the invaders and builds your defenses while we are asleep. We have this memory consolidation we talked about, and emotional processing, and we talked about gut health and liver detox. So the liver ramps up phase 1 and phase 2 detox pathways while we are sleeping. That housekeeping service is busy processing toxins, excess hormones, and metabolic waste. And you might have heard about the MMC, migrating motor complex. This is activated in the gut during our sleep to sweep out debris and undigested food. So think of it what's that? Those vacuum cleaners, the little robots that just go through slowly and clean out everything. Just think a little Pac-Man. But melatonin also supports the gut lining and microbiome balance. So interesting, that the role of the melatonin we don't think about besides sleeping. So what else can you do? What goes wrong is maybe where you want to start. So let's look at what you can improve. And we have this sleep cycle we went over. Stage 1 is light transitional sleep, drowsiness. You start to begin into stage 1. And then stage 2, more stable sleep. Your chemicals block in the senses, making it difficult to be awakened. Stage 3, you're in deep sleep. And this is where the growth hormone is released. And then stage 4, you've got REM, where your memory, intense dreams occurs, and you're revitalizing the dream cycle. So 90 to 120 minutes, 4 to 6 cycles a night, rotating through. What does it look like? Ideally, how much you spend in each sleep stage. We can see on devices, but maybe you get stage 1, say it's 5%, stage 2, 45 to 55%. It's your nervous system reset, memory priming. Stage 3, deep sleep, 15 to 25%. This is physical healing, immune, and brain detox. And then REM is 20, 25% emotional balance, memory, and dreaming. So you can go into each stage itself. Stage 1, light sleep. What can go wrong in each one? Sleep cycles, how they change with age. So let's see, total sleep time. You can see at age 80, 5.8 hours versus age 20, we're at 7.5 hours. Time asleep in bed. This is from James Clear, 2004. This is really old, but this is what came up when I was trying to find some infographics on sleep. So I wonder how this has changed. So sleep cycles with age, slow wave sleep. Yeah. Time asleep in bed. Interesting. I should find a newer one. Okay, stage 2, light sleep. What happens there? What can go wrong? Caffeine, alcohol, anxiety. That's why I don't drink more than, if I drink, it's 1 to 2 nights max, and it's on a Friday or Saturday. I don't drink weeknights. And if I have a drink, it's a margarita, no sugar, or vodka soda. But I really don't drink that much. And I really have a strong rule of not drinking weeknights, school nights, I call it, when I'm working the next day, because it impacts my sleep. And I know a lot of people, when they started wearing their Oura rings, stopped drinking alcohol because they became aware of how alcohol impacts their sleep. And you can see stage 2, light sleep, is where your body temperature drops, muscles relax, brain waves show sleep spindles, so protective bursts of brain activity. But more thinking of what goes wrong, the effect of your nervous system, memory. So then we have stage 3, deep sleep. First half of the night, you get more so delta waves dominant in deep sleep. Very difficult to wake up from. You're not dreaming here. That's the next stage. But this is why it's so important to have deep sleep. Physical repair, regeneration, growth hormones released here, immune system activation, brain glymphatic system is most active. What can go wrong? Chronic stress. Aging is impacted. EMF exposure will impact your sleep. Alcohol and sleep disorders. This can lead to fatigue, poor recovery, increased inflammation, and brain fog if you don't get enough deep sleep. Again, another infographic of stages of sleep and the different brain waves. In stage 4, rapid eye movement, REM sleep. This is where your vivid dreams are. And maybe in the morning I'll wake up and I'm just finishing a dream. But what impacts it? Antidepressants, alcohol, melatonin imbalances, and blue light. And disruption can cause or connect to mood disorders, memory loss, and neurodegeneration. So really important to get this quality sleep through all the cycles. So remember, stage 1, transition between wakefulness to sleep, 5 to 10 minutes. And then you shift to stage 2, where your body temperature drops, your heart rate begins to slow, and the brain begins to produce sleep spindles. And this lasts about 20 minutes. And then from REM, so that's non-REM stage, and then I go into stage 3, where my muscles relax, blood pressure and breathing rate drop, deepest sleep. And then I go from deep sleep, non-REM stage 3, into REM, where the brain's more active, the body becomes more relaxed and immobilized, and this is where your dreams occur and your eyes move rapidly. So you just don't need more sleep, you need the right finding to sleep. So remember, we want to prioritize healthy circadian rhythms. Melatonin production starts in the morning, stress reduction, more managing your stress as well as reducing it, and how you handle it, that resiliency, and balancing your blood sugar will all help you have a better sleep cycle naturally through all phases of sleep, giving your body a chance to detox, reset, and repair as it was designed to, until we started messing around with it. Here's another infographic on the nervous system. So we don't want to be in fight or flight right before bed. That's preparing the body for stress, increased heart rate, and blood pressure. And you don't want to be in sympathetic nervous system when you're going to eat because your digestive system's turned off. Versus parasympathetic, it turns the body to this calm state. Growth hormone, DHA, melatonin, decreased heart rate, blood pressure, repair the body. So you want to rest, digest, heal, repair, detoxify in parasympathetic. So what goes wrong? Stress, chronic stress, or cortisol's up. That's going to suppress your deep and REM sleep. Reduction in REM and deep sleep with alcohol. Blue light at night. If you're not putting on those blue blockers or getting off your devices before bed, this is lowering your melatonin. It's telling your body it's morning, not nighttime. So that might give you insomnia, poor sleep. If you can't fall asleep, get off your devices in bed. No EMF in your bedroom, no electronic devices in bed. It's a good rule to have. Aging, less deep sleep, slower healing, increased inflammation. Medications inhibit REM sleep. So you might have more brain fog, mood imbalance. If you're on antidepressants, beta blockers. So think about wake up during the sleep, during your deep sleep, restless sleep, you're going to have a strain on your stress hormones. Frequent arousals in all stages, non-restorative sleep, increased cardiovascular risk. Snoring. So what can you do? What happens while you're sleeping? We can go deeper dive, but think scrubbing your brain clean, repairing your mitochondria, balancing your blood sugar, your hormones, activating your immune system, detoxification, digestion. You can pause if you want to read these. Regulates your mood and memory. So again, we don't want to be stuck in fight or flight. What can you do to improve your future self? Maybe a morning routine, natural light. You do some morning yoga flow for better focus and motivation, little movement poses, hydration, gratitude journaling, writing your journal outside in the morning sunlight, moving. Maybe if you're already exhausted, just light movement and sunshine, you don't need to exercise. Your body needs energy to heal. And then when you eat and break your fast, have protein first. Stop the high carb breakfast. Have that protein. So what about your vagus nerve? This is a really important part to get deep restorative sleep and activate this tissue repair and your lymphatic detox, support your liver. If your vagal tone is weak or damaged, we're stuck in sympathetic overdrive. We're not able to get quality sleep and heal and repair. So vagus nerve sets the stage for restorative sleep. A high vagal tone promotes parasympathetic dominance. So that's a good thing, promoting calming the heart, lower respiratory rate, help with sleep. Support our melatonin release, GABA, serotonin, and vagal tone reduces nighttime cortisol surges, which are common for those 1 to 3 a.m. wake-ups. Poor vagal tone leads to light, fragmented sleep and impaired healing and detox. Really important to think about. Number 2, vagal tone is required for cellular repair. So during your deep sleep, your body shifts into high repair mode, releases the growth hormone, muscle, bone, connective tissue, rebuilds mitochondria, clears oxidative stress. So remember that deep sleep we need, but this only happens when more parasympathetic activity is dominant and the vagus nerve is controlling this. So without a strong vagal tone, stress signals, cortisol and adrenaline block this repair process. The vagus nerve supports detoxification. Your liver detox enzymes are activated by the vagus nerve, especially phase 2 liver detox. Your gallbladder bile flow is activated by the vagus nerve, and this helps toxin and hormone clearance. The vagus nerve activates peristalsis, that migrating motor complex, little vacuum cleaner that's moving through, and lymphatic circulation through the gut-brain axis, especially. So if your vagus nerve is suppressed due to stress, trauma, infections, or inflammation, your detoxification process slows down. Detoxification is key, or else we have toxins recirculating if we don't have the right drainage pathways open and binders to come collect those toxins. If they recirculate, they get stored in the fat cells, and they can cross the blood-brain barrier and lead to brain fog, fatigue, and inflammation, neuroinflammation. So vagal tone helps reduce inflammation and trigger healing. You want to be in a healing state, you have to get in the parasympathetic state. So this is crucial in chronic illness, autoimmunity, mold illness, post-viral fatigue, where inflammation is primary barrier to sleep and healing. So low vagal tone leads to poor sleep quality and slower recovery. So what can we do? Sleep, detoxification, healing, inflammation. The vagus nerve supports all these areas, calming the brain, lowering the cortisol, promote melatonin and GABA, supporting liver enzyme, bile flow, gut motility, helping us to get deep sleep, growth hormone release, mitochondria repair, cytokine storms. So we can go in a deeper dive. I'll do this another time, but talk about gallbladder, bile flow, and hormone clearance. What is the migrating motor complex really doing? Every 90 to 120 minutes after meals or between meals. It's internal sweep. If that slows down, that leads to bacterial overgrowth, which is called SIBO, peristalsis, constipation, slow weakness. Gut becomes more inflamed, toxic, and dysbiosis. The vagal tone maintains it. So this is all about the vagus nerve. Vagus nerve influences your immune system and inflammatory, pro-inflammatory cytokines are inhibited. So inflammation is modulated, not overactivated, allowing healing to begin if we have that vagus nerve functioning. So that's just a deeper dive into what happens when we have low vagal tone. Autoimmune flares, slow healing, brain fog and fatigue, poor sleep, higher chronic inflammation, looking at your CRP levels in your blood, inflammatory cytokines, another marker you can get. So takeaway here is that the nervous system controls your immune system. And the vagus nerve is the switchboard for turning inflammation off so healing can begin. So if we truly resolve chronic symptoms, we must address the vagal tone, not just with supplements or medications, but through nervous system retraining, breath work, and trauma-informed healing. So start with the 4-7-8 breath work, maybe splash your face or have a cold shower. Try gargling salt water in the morning and night, humming when you're getting ready, when you're walking, singing in your car. That all stimulates the vagal branches in the throat. Heart rate variability training, get that flexibility, shift between nervous systems. Prayer, meditation, essential oils activates that limbic system. Listen to my video with Jody Cohen of Vibrant Blue Oils, calms the vagus nerve. You can just breathe them in or you can apply them on your vagus nerve. You can do lymphatic massage. So we want to improve sleep quality. So these were first were how to boost your detox and liver function, deepen sleep quality, how to sleep lifelong quality sleep. So that was 2. Number 3 is detox and liver function, getting that brain cleared out, getting the bile flowing, get the liver drainage pathways open. recharge your mitochondria, stimulate mitochondrial biogenesis with sleep, sunshine, strength training, red light therapy, anti-inflammatory food plan. Don't say the word diet. How can you calm the inflammation and support the brain detox? Glymphatic activation is deep sleep, and that's where we clear out the brain waste. Having a lion's mane omega-3 fatty acids is really important, but again, you need to do the rest of the work. You can't just take a supplement to fix everything. Melatonin can be a microdose. You can add it in, master antioxidant, and it helps with inflammation. What you're eating, and the vagus activation lymph drainage can help brain gut immune communication reset. So build your resiliency daily. It's not overnight. It's consistency is the key. Strengthen that vagus nerve. Get your deeper sleep. The deeper your sleep, the better your detox and healing. The better you heal, the younger and more vibrant you become in the future. So pick one thing you can do today. Let me know your questions, comments, and we can dive in deeper. There's lots more to talk to you about, but let's good start today. So pick one thing you can do to become more resilient. Thanks for listening. Share with someone that you care about that can improve their resiliency if they're experiencing chronic stress and can't get out of that sympathetic dominance and can't heal and repair on their own. So let's figure out what you want to learn next time. Reach out, let me know. Thanks.